Good morning, guys. Happy Wednesday. Mr. Joshua with another video. This is going to be my part 10, I believe, for Batman versus Terminator. And everything I've been saying about these past videos are completely just made up in my head as I go along. I don't have anything from like part 5 all of it to now that's been pre-written. So all this shit that I'm talking about right now is completely made up as I go. So bear with me. I think I left off with Batman fighting the T-1000 in that Skynet hangar. So, long story short, Batman throws a bunch of EMP bombs at the T-1000. The EMP bombs get stuck into the T-1000's body, blow up, and essentially shut the Terminator down. And that spike that the T-1000 threw at the open air vent to prevent Batman from escaping, it melts and it turns back into liquid metal, and Batman was able to manage to escape. So that part was, pretty cool, I guess. After that, I'm not really sure what happens. I think what I would like for it to happen is that the storyline goes back to John Connor. John Connor sees that Batman disabled the plasma shield that surrounds Skynet Central. So John Connor sends the HK tanks. He has like 3 or 4 HK tanks that have been fixed up and reprogrammed to fight for humans. So he sends the HK tanks to the front lines, and they fight Skynet's HK tanks. Big giant war back and forth. And then John Connor sends the HKs plus the one super HK that Batman recovered, and they have this huge ass battle. T-800s all over the place, Terminators destroying Terminators. And then the human resistance comes in along with Batman's army, the leftover people of Batman's army, and they just have this big all out war. And in the comic, I want this war to be just completely dark, really fucked up war. And as all this is going around, Batman is. What would Batman? I'm gonna turn this fucking radio down. What would Batman be doing right now in this war? Everyone's out in the battlefield fighting, and here's Batman stuck inside of Skynet Central, inside that big giant pyramid. What would Batman be doing? I honestly don't know. He's in the air vents, hiding. At this point, guys, I don't really know. I have writer's block for sure. I don't know where to go from here. Oh, here we go. How about Batman tries to find the Skynet core? So Batman tries to find the Skynet core. Let's see. Be honest with you guys, I don't know where to go from here. Batman's looking for Skynet's main core system to shut it down. Let's see. I apologize for me not being able to come up with a proper storyline for this video. I'm already like fucking 4 minutes in. Dude, I don't know. How about Batman tries to go find the Skynet core so he can shut down Skynet permanently? And Batman gets lured to the Skynet core system. He goes in there. Here we go. Skynet lures Batman to the Skynet core system. And so Batman goes in there. It's a big, giant, round room. And inside the room, there's also the time machine. Skynet keeps that close to prevent any kind of human to, potentially take it over. So Batman goes in there. He sees the time machine. He walks up to the computer, starts messing around with the computer on the time machine, and activates it. And then all of a sudden, the whole entire room gets echoed by this weird sound. And then a loud voice comes out of nowhere and starts talking to Batman and says, "I know who you are. You are Bruce Wayne. You are the one who brought me to life. For that, I thank you. But unfortunately, I cannot allow you to take over this time machine that I have created to benefit my own existence." And then Batman and Skynet start talking back and forth. And Skynet knows that Batman, takes accountability and takes all that hurt. Batman blames himself for everything that happens, and Skynet knows this. And since Skynet has a bunch of scientists, Skynet also has a psychologist that it captured back in the day. And a psychologist actually taught Skynet how to manipulate humans to get what it wants. And so essentially this is what Skynet is doing to Batman, which is manipulation. Trying to, throw Batman off guard. And then there's this pod at the very end of the room, a big giant silver pod. And again, I'm half-assing it right now. But the pod slowly opens up, revealing a human, a muscular human, and Skynet tells Batman, "This is the human form of me," basically, and it describes to Batman that this version of Skynet says that it is the perfect version of a living being mixed with Terminator or whatever. And before Batman has a chance to destroy the body, Skynet takes over its own personal Terminator, basically. Let's call this Terminator this Terminator that Skynet built for itself, for its physical form. It's not a T-800, it's not a T-1000. This is something completely different. This is like this Terminator body that it created for itself. It's a combination of like a human hybrid mixed with bionics. So it can easily pass off as being human, and it breathes like a human, eats food like a human. But in a weird sense, it's kind of like a superhuman almost, And the body ages like very, very slow. So by the time the body's like 200 years old, it'll look like it's 30, for example. So Skynet takes over the body before Batman has a chance to destroy it. And then Skynet comes out of its pod, stands straight up, looks down at its hands and says, "I am God." And then its red eyes dart upwards at Batman, and he kind of smiles at him, and he says something like, "Now you will see the true power of Skynet. This is your demise. This is your end, Bruce Wayne." And then before Batman has a chance to react, this naked Skynet body Terminator thing comes charging after Batman like a fucking quarterback, and comes charging at Batman, and Batman, he jumps out of the way just in the nick of time. Skynet stops, turns around, and they just start having this big giant fight. Batman punches Skynet in the face a couple of times. It doesn't faze Skynet at all. And Skynet stands straight up and looks down at Batman. He towers over Batman a little bit, but not by much. But he looks down at Batman and quickly punches Batman across the face. Batman goes flying, slams up against a wall, and they just have this big giant battle. Batman gets the shit kicked out of him. He just gets thrown around and just kind of taunted, just kind of played with. You know, Skynet really doesn't want to kill Batman at first. He just wants to kind of play with him a little bit. You know, hurt him emotionally. And this is where I'm going to leave off. You know, you have the super Terminator, aka Skynet, the living embodiment of Skynet, and it's beating the shit out of Batman. You know, it lured Batman into his traps so it could, you know, hurt Batman and kill Batman, because he knows that Batman was the person that created him, and he knows that Batman was there to destroy him. So what better way of, you know, utilizing its new body to see just how powerful it really is against Batman. And that's all I have for today. If you guys like my videos, please like and subscribe. I'm out.